This is Bishop Dale Bronner. Thank you so much for joining our YouTube channel today. If this is a blessing to you, I want to encourage you to like it and then click the subscribe button and then turn on notification. Hit that little notification bell so that you never ever miss another one of our videos. And then if you're in the Metro Atlanta area on a Sunday, check out one of our exhilarating services at 8:30 a.m., 11 a.m., or 6 o'clock p.m. If you would turn in your Bibles, Numbers chapter 25, focusing on verses 7 through verse 9. Notice there these words. Now when Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, saw it, he rose from among the congregation and took a javelin in his hand, and he went after the man of Israel into the tent and thrust both of them through, the man of Israel and the woman through her body. So the plague was stopped among the children of Israel, and those who died in the plague were 24,000. I'm speaking today from the subject simply of find your tribe. Find your tribe. Find your tribe. Everybody has a tribe that they are to be a part of that helps you to become who you need to be, who you are destined to be. Everybody has their village. You don't just raise children today by yourself. It takes a village to raise children because they're not always in your presence. And so you need uncles and aunts and grandmothers and grandfathers and cousins and nieces and nephews and big brothers and big sisters. It's a whole village. You need neighbors down the street to help you to be who you're supposed to be. Back in the day when you really had a sense of community, they didn't even have to have your parents' permission to whip your behind. And my God, I'm telling you, we didn't have to call a popo to fix stuff because your neighbors beat you and then took you down to your house, told your mama what you did. She beat you, and then she said, just wait till your daddy gets here. And then he comes on with his crazy self and beats you. But it takes a village to raise a child. You have to find your village, find your tribe, that group of people that belong to you. But just to give you a little background on this particular story, this is Phinehas. He is the grandson of Aaron the priest, the brother of Moses. And there is a plague that is happening among them. You see, a man by the name of Balaam hired a prophet by the name, a man by the name of Barak hired a prophet by the name of Balaam. And he hired this prophet to come there and to curse the children of Israel. And how many of you know that you cannot curse what God has blessed? And it was that way. I mean, he realized he came there, he was paid. Balaam was paid by Barak to actually curse the children of Israel. He was paid to curse them. And when he came there to curse them and opened his mouth, instead of cursing them, he ended up blessing them. And the king says, what is this that you're doing? I mean, he says, I paid you to curse these folks and you come here and bless them. And then he explained that, I can't curse what God has blessed. So no hex, no voodoo, no witchcraft. If you've got the blessing of God on your life, if God has blessed you, nobody has the power to curse you. You have to walk in the strength and the covering, the joy of the blessing of the Lord that's in your life. But what Balaam said, he figured out, I don't have the power to curse them, but if I introduce something that is accursed, I can cause them to adopt it and curse themselves. And that's precisely what he did. So he said, I'll throw a feast, a pagan feast, and they won't be able to resist the Moabite women, and it'll be a heathen sex fest. And the men of Israel are not going to be able to resist it. And sure enough, they were not. They came with their pagan practices, and then the men of Israel got involved in that, and it offended God, and it brought a curse on the land. 24,000 of them died. So now here Phinehas comes, catches a man in a tent, one of them Israelite men in a tent with a woman, a Moabite woman. She's a pagan worshiper, and they are connected together. And here comes Phinehas with a spear, and he impales this man with the spear, and because the woman is attached to him, it goes through the man and pierces the woman and kills her as well. There's a danger of being attached to folks in the wrong place. Remember, there are no wrong people. There are only wrong places. They're only wrong places. They're only wrong places. Your children get in trouble when they get in the wrong place. They're good children, but if they get in the wrong place, they can become wrong people. Just because they were in the wrong place, and just because they were attached to a place where they had no business being, then they got in trouble. And the woman died and the man died. Had the man not been attached to the woman, he would have been alive. Had the woman not been attached to the man, she would have been alive. The two of them together, because they were attached, what killed the man also killed the woman. The question here is saying to us, you need to find your tribe, the people that belong to you, the folks that are a part of who helps to bring out the best in you. You got to find your tribe. Don't do life alone. Don't do life alone. That's why we've got small groups that you can connect to, so that you don't have to do life alone. You're not designed to do life alone, but you have to be connected to the right tribe. You do realize that we are the body of Christ, but not everything that's in the body is designed to have direct fellowship with each other. My scapula does not have fellowship with my patella. They're in the same body, but they don't have fellowship. You do realize that just because somebody is saved doesn't mean that they can be your ace. Not everybody thinks alike. Not everybody's personality is compatible. You can be saved, but you know, there's some saved folks that you have to love from a distance. You know them too. You know them too. So you can be in the same body, but not everything that's in the body is designed to have direct fellowship. If you put people in a group, there are certain people that are just going to click, and the other ones that, you know, some people are sort of funny. And so you have to let them be. You have to find your tribe. That there is a group of people that's connected in heart, and you really find chemistry with them, and it becomes a great, great blessing to both parties, all of the parties that are involved. And so we are grateful to God. Isn't it interesting, though, that others don't have to personally destroy you if they can send somebody into your life to attach themselves to your life to cause you to destroy yourself? You don't even have to destroy people if you can give them what will destroy themselves. And here this man that was pierced through, his name was Zimri. And he was there caught with a Midianite woman, and it was pierced through, and here they are in the camp of the Lord. But here's my thing. You have to beware of the friendliness of God's enemies. Beware of the friendliness of God's enemies. Because if they're a pagan worshiper, and if they're an enemy of God and then want to befriend you, they're going to try to pull you away, and it may not be your tribe. It may not be your tribe. You see, we have a task that we must engage the world, because if you don't engage the world, you can't change the world. We must engage the world to impact the world, but we do not engage in their sinful practices. We are called to engage the world. We are called to engage the culture, but we do not engage in their sinful practices. We're called out as salt and light, and you can be that. Salt never becomes the meat. It announces its presence on the meat. You put salt on chicken, salt never becomes chicken. But you know when chicken is salty. It announces its presence. It announces its presence. And so the intermingling of the children of God with these Moabite women caused a curse, and 24,000 people died. But when Aaron's grandson, Phinehas, thrust this couple through with the sword, and it pierced both the man and the woman and killed them, the plague stopped. The plague stopped. He pierced both of them. You see, whatever blesses the man will bless the woman who's attached to him. But on the flip side of that, whatever pierces the man also pierces the woman who's attached to him. And you see, here's the deal, is that you are harming more than just yourself through bad decisions. Every time that you make a bad decision, you hurt everybody who's attached to you. You hurt everybody who loves you. You hurt everybody who is praying for you. You hurt everybody who's believing in you and is expecting the best out of you. When you make a bad decision, you hurt everybody else who is attached to you. So when you mess up, every family member, every friend, every loved one who's attached to you comes into a certain degree of pain in their life. It reminds me of how if a father is frustrated with life and he loses hope and he puts a gun to his own head and pulls the trigger, he doesn't realize that he blows his son's brains out in the process. When a frustrated mother takes her own life, she also takes something away from her daughter. They set something in their life because they teach them that when life gets hard and when you become frustrated, this is how you deal with it. And this is why we have to be able to be bigger than the challenges that come against us in our life. And we've got to live for other folks that's depending on us. You're not called to live a selfish life. There are certain things that if you don't have the strength to do it for you, do it for your children. Do it for your mama. Do it for the integrity of your family's name. If you can't do it for you, do it for the integrity of your family. So that God can bring blessings on what will come after you. You have to be able to realize that. Several years ago, in our home, a storm came and it knocked out the circuit in my bathroom and just the sockets. The lights worked, but the sockets. I couldn't plug a shaver in and shave. And then it was out for months. I don't know why I didn't call the electrician to come, you know. I thought it would work itself out. I mean, I'm not a very mechanical person, so I did go down to the basement. I looked in the breaker box. I was thinking, that if I can find, how when a breaker trips and things are in alignment, but one of them is sort of out of alignment a little bit. So that's what I was looking for. But all of them were in alignment. So I couldn't see anything, and I said, well, I guess that's not it. And then later on, what happened is my furnace, I started having problems with my furnace. And so I saw a switch there labeled furnace, but it was one of those double bars that was connected to something else. So it was a big switch. And so I flipped it off and flipped it back on. And little did I realize at that point that the circuitry for my bathroom sockets was connected to the one for the furnace. So when I turned that one off and turned it back on, it reset all of my breakers in my master bathroom. And now all of my sockets were working. But I couldn't tell that it had tripped because it was attached to one that was still on. And the furnace was still on, but the breaker that it was connected to in the breaker box had switched off. And isn't it something how you can be attached to somebody in life where they're still turned on and everything is hunky-dory for them, but you're dying, still attached to, are you listening to me? You're still attached to somebody, you've been turned off, and they still turned on thinking that everything is okay in the relationship just because you're silent, just because you've stopped complaining about it. They make the assumption that everything, anybody know what I'm talking about? That everything, and you have been turned off, but you're attached to somebody who thinks everything is okay because you stopped talking to them about it because you're tired of talking about it, because nothing changes, and so you just stop talking about it. And they're still turned on. Oh, this and blah, blah, this and blah, blah, that. And you're sitting there in your silence saying, I wish that. And you're attached to somebody who's turned on, but your flip has been tripped. It's been tripped. I mean, just this week I got an email from a lady in Jordan, and she said, I watch you on the Kingdom Sat, and she said, I was suicidal, living in an Islamic situation that was oppressive to me as a woman. And she said, and I saw a message that you did entitled, Flip the Switch. And she said, that message changed my life. And she says, from that day to this one, I've never had another suicidal thought. And I turned my life over to Jesus. And I'm serving him now faithfully, converted as a Christian out of Islam. I'm so grateful to God, that sometimes, every now and then, you got to flip the switch. Because sometimes you're attached to somebody who's still turned on, but you've been tripped off. And they don't even know it because you're attached and you look like you're in position, but something is just a little out of alignment and you're tripped off and they're still turned on and assuming that everything is okay and they can't even understand what's wrong. They don't even know what time it is. So always be mindful of who or what you attach to and whomever or whatever you allow to attach to you. You have to always be mindful of that. Because Here's the thing, is that you have to realize that you're not supposed to be attached to any and everybody. You're not supposed to be attached to any and everybody. I mean, 1 Peter chapter 1 and verse 16 says, be ye holy, for I am holy. This is what God says to us. Be ye holy as I am holy. Shout holy. Holy. Holy means to be separated or set apart. It means to be separated or set apart. There are things that when we're going to be holy, God separates us or sets us apart. He sets distinction between us. We are separated so that we can be attached unto the Lord. One of my favorite verses in all of Scripture is 1 Corinthians 15, verse 33 in the New American Standard Version. It says, do not be deceived. Bad company corrupts good morals. Bad company corrupts good moral. When you're attached to the wrong kind of person, it can mess you up. Remember, there are no bad people, but there are bad places. And if you're in the wrong place, connected to the wrong person, it says, don't fool yourself. Don't fool yourself. Bad company corrupts good morals. Bad company corrupts good moral. I had my choir teacher, a chorus teacher in high school. She's 25 years old. She contracted lung cancer and died. By the time she was 26, she was dead. She was a non-smoker. But she went into the teacher's lounge every day, and I went in there by mistake one day, and I thought it was the Shekinah glory of God, the cloud. And I was saying to myself, I didn't know that Shekinah glory smelled like tobacco. And it made me wonder, I'm like, are we stressing our teachers to the degree that they've got to be smoking like a chimney in this place? And it was a cloud of smoke. And here this young woman, 25 years old, contracted lung cancer and died before she was 26 years old. And she never smoked, but she attached herself to an environment. And she didn't have a filter on the other end of the smoke. And she developed lung cancer and died because of the attachment. There are no wrong people, but there are wrong places. And you see, if you don't detach from what is killing you, it's a matter of time before death will come to you. Have you ever noticed people that are diabetic and after years of dealing with diabetes, your lower extremities, your toes will start dying. Gangrene will build up on them, and they'll end up amputating one toe, two toes, and they let it go sometimes so badly that they'll have to amputate half of your foot, sometimes the whole foot, sometimes a quarter of the third lower part of your leg and the foot, sometimes from below the knee down. And if you stay attached to something that has death in it, it's just a matter of time. It keeps spreading. It's coming up. It's coming up to you. It's spreading up. It's spreading up. And if you don't cut it off, it'll kill you. You don't have a choice in whether or not you're going to be nice, because indecision is a choice. And if you stay connected to something that is killing you, it's a matter of time, because I'm telling you, the gangrene is moving up you. It's moving up you, and you're trying to be nice. You're trying to wait it out. You don't wait out cancer. You don't wait out gangrene but you don't wait out something that is a process of death that is spreading in you, moving up you, trying to take over your whole body. So that's why you have to detach from stuff that is killing you. You have to detach. You don't negotiate with cancer. You don't have cancer in an organization and say, you know what, I'm going to move you from accounting over to marketing. You don't move cancer from your left arm to your right arm, or from the left breast to the right breast. You don't negotiate with cancer. Cancer has to be excised. You want to cut it out, cut it off. You want to get every sign of every malignant cell out of your body. You want to get rid of it. It has to be cut out. It has to be dealt with on the molecular level, to where it is destroyed and is not reproducing in your system. You need to cut yourself off from the malignancy and from the gangrene that is producing death. What are you attached to? Is that a part of your tribe? Is that a part of your tribe? Just remember that 50% of your success depends upon with whom you associate. 50% of your success depends upon with whom you associate. Who are you associating with in your life? You can associate with people and that you cannot afford to become attached to. You can find yourself associating with people that you cannot afford to become attached to. Because, you can sleep with somebody and sex causes an attachment. And here now you've got soul ties, cause an attachment. Now your soul is all mixed up and tied up. You can't get this person out of your system. You're dealing with the transference of spirits because of sex. And sometimes because of regular conversation, you're just going to text them, you're just going to inbox this person, and it starts out with a simple, innocent little conversation, and then one thing leads to another because that conversation is leading you into something that has death in it. And a partnership can cause an attachment. You see, the danger is always through attachment. It's what you get attached to or what you allow to become attached to you that can be the difference between life or death for you. Paul warns us in Romans chapter 16 and verse 17. He says, mark them which cause divisions and offenses contrary to the doctrine that you have learned. And notice what he says here, and avoid them. Avoid them like the plague. There are some people that when you see them coming, run. If you see them hitting up your cell phone, you need to put it in your contact, do not answer. Run like the plague. Just run, run, run. Run, Forrest, run. There's certain things you can't negotiate. If you know it's a temptation, you don't reason with temptation. It's like, listen, now you know that it's not good for the two of us to get together. You know what ends up happening each time, and I don't feel as though there are amorous feelings and my hormones. You cannot reason and rationalize with temptation. You run from it. The Bible doesn't say rebuke it. It says flee it. It means hightail it out of there. Get out of the place. There are no wrong people. There are wrong places. Get out of the place. You see it coming. You see it creeping in. You just have to start backing out. Yes. That's what Joseph did with Potiphar's wife. He didn't say, ma'am, I'm a person of God, a man of faith, and I respect your husband, and the way that we're looking at each other is not quite appropriate. I'm flattered that you think that I'm attractive, and you don't rationalize with sin. You hightail it. You flee it. You run from it. You close the door. You snatch it up from the root. You don't play with it. Notice it says, mark them which cause divisions and offenses that are contrary to the doctrine that you learn. And avoid them. This is scripture. Paul talking to Christians at the church at Rome. He's telling them about this. So there are people in this world that you are called to avoid. That you're called to avoid. You avoid haters. Avoid haters. Avoid jealous people. Avoid envious people. Avoid gossips. Avoid complainers. Avoid lust-filled people. Avoid money-hungry people. Avoid home wreckers. There are some people that you have to avoid. And then you have to learn to attach yourself to other people. Attach to lifters. There are some people that just lift your spirit. You see them and you just get lifted. They don't even have to say anything. You just be in certain people's presence and they give off positive energy. You just get lifted by certain people. You have to attach yourself to lifters. Attach yourself to encouragers. Attach yourself to those who celebrate you. Attach yourself to those who love you. Attach yourself to those who bring the best out of you. Attach yourself to those who correct you when you are wrong. Attach yourself who provoke you to love and to good works. You have to attach yourself to those who add value to you. Attach yourself to the right people. You have to attach yourself to the right tribe. Detach from the wrong tribe and attach yourself to the right tribe. Remember, there are no wrong people. There are only wrong places. And you may be in the wrong tribe, dealing with the wrong village. And there's a people there that's designed to be able to see the best in you, to encourage the best in you, to celebrate you, to correct you when you're wrong, to lift you, to make you to be what you have not yet become, to add value to your life. And this is how God has designed us to be able to live as individuals who have value in our life. He's allowed us to be able to bring someone else, so that's why you shouldn't do life alone. Johan and Alexis, can you all come here and help me right quick? Because I want to show you something that I learned in geometry. I hated geometry. I love math, but I hated geometry. I just hated geometry because I felt that it was impractical. And I'm such a practical person. I'm like, if I can't use it in the real world. So I asked the teacher, I loved algebra and trigonometry and all of that, but I just didn't like geometry because I said, I'll never use this again. And the teacher said to me, I want you to write a report on the uses of geometry in industry. I found a few, like an architect and stuff, but I still had no plans on being an architect. But that was something, because I had a positive spirit, that I learned something that I apply to my own life. And this is a revelation that came out of me from my own ability in terms of, come step right here. And here, this is husband and wife here. So, newlyweds. There are angles that are talked about in geometry, and one of them is called complementary angles. Complementary angles are two angles that form a 90-degree position. Two angles that form a 90-degree position. Okay, so this way, with both of you all facing the congregation here. Now, I want you to put one arm just straight out like that, and then another one that would be maybe not, probably about like that. Yeah. And now, you put an arm around her like that because you support her in this, and then you put the other arm straight up, because then that creates, see, this is that degree, and then this now, see the two of them working together? These are two angles that are complementing each other. See, this one might be 45 degrees, but now he's complementing her and making it 90 degree. To say that the two of these working together, it empowers them now to be upright. A 90 degree is an upright angle. You have trouble sometimes walking and staying straight by yourself, so God yokes you with somebody that helps you to be able to walk upright. This is called a complementary angle. Two angles where the sum of their degrees becomes 90 degrees. 90 degrees, that's upright. That gives us a vertical reach up to God, so that God now empowers the couple to be more. That's why you got to find your tribe, because this helps you to be who God called you to be. It's a pretty good lesson that I exacted out of my geometry, isn't it? Okay, now relax a little bit, because it can really be taxing to. She needs a little massage here, You can tell they're newlyweds. And now I'm going to illustrate for you what's called a supplementary angle. Supplementary angle. And so again, this one's straight out, and now this one may be about like this, and this might be, let's say, 120 degrees. A supplementary angle is two angles that form the total of 120 degrees. 180 degrees, 180 degrees. So it's the straight line. So this helps us. See, the first one was a 90-degree angle, the complementary that helps us to be upright. This one is designed for the 120 that gives us the horizontal. God, once you get the vertical, it empowers you now to then reach out toward mankind. See, it's not designed to just stay with you. You got to reach out and be able to help serve someone else. And yet by yourself, you may only be able to do 120 degrees, but then you get someone else to supplement you in the areas of your weakness, who's got a strength in the area of your weakness, and then they help to keep us straight so that we reach out, that we do not contain in us what is designed for others, and we're designed then to take that has come out of the complementary relationship, and then now we take it into the supplemental angle where it's 180 degrees designed for our horizontal relationships, and the two together become the way of the cross. The vertical that comes from the complementary, and then the horizontal, which is the other way of the cross. Jesus, we reach up toward God and reach out toward mankind. Give this couple a wonderful hand. Thank you so much. And so you see, we're designed, so I hate to learn stuff and then not be able to apply it to life. Now, that might not be as an architect, but it helps me in my own spiritual understanding of realizing how certain things are complementary and other things are supplementary. And then when you say supplement, say supplement. It sounds like the word supplication in Scripture, which refers to prayer. Supplication. Prayer and supplication. Supplication is asking for stuff in prayer. Supplicating. This is a passion, an ethos, a pathos that comes in your prayer life as you supplicate, but it helps us in our compassion toward reaching out toward other people. It reaches out. So one is upreach, the other one is outreach. Upreach, outreach, complementary. You need other people to help you to stay upright. And then as they supplement your life, it helps you to be able to reach out, have outreach toward other folks in the world, and it blesses in an incredible, incredible way. And so we're grateful to the God. Now, here's a principle I want you to understand. Never confuse those who are attached to you with those who are assigned to you. Never confuse those who are attached to you with those who are assigned to you. There are people that will just try to attach themselves to you. Those are called leeches. Those are called bloodsuckers. God didn't attach them to you. They're trying to attach themselves to you. He didn't assign them to you. They're trying to attach themselves to you. And there are times that you'll find things trying to attach themselves to your life that God didn't assign to your life. That's why I said you got to find your tribe. You have to find your tribe. So always be careful of that. Never confuse those who are attached to you with those who are assigned to you. And see, here's my definition of the law of attachment. The law of attachment says essentially that you will be affected by whatever or whomever you are attached to. You will be affected by whatever or whomever you are attached to. And here's the thing, your attachments can be lethal to you or legendary for you. They can be lethal to you or legendary for you. If you got the right kind of hookups, the right kind of attachment, it can be legendary for you. They just make the best winning combination all the way around. But one definition of the word attachment is seizure by legal process. Attachment, seizure by legal process. You see, when you get attached to the wrong person, you give them legal access to your stuff. When you get attached to the wrong person, you give them legal access to your stuff. So you can be married and you say, well, my husband did this, but y'all married now. And he's messed up and your name is hooked up with his, and now all of a sudden now your credit is jacked up and you didn't even do it. So, but when you do that, when you get attached to the wrong person, you give them legal access to your stuff. And then they can start taking your stuff because you're legally attached to them. They'll start taking your joy, your confidence, your peace of mind, your reputation, your money, your assets. You ought to say the devil is a lie. It's interesting, but you ought to have some evaluation questions concerning your attachments. Have some evaluation questions. Here's the first one that I would say. To whom are you attached? To whom are you attached? You ought to be very cautious about the people that you're attached to. If you're a parent, you need to be concerned about every person that your children are attached to, or who's trying to attach themselves to your children, and for what purpose. You know, the old folks, they used to say, you know, well, who are that people? They wanted to know something about the tribe. You know, who is that? Whose child is that? I know you trying to holler at somebody. Whose child is that? What's that mom? What that mama do? What did daddy do? You're trying to find out their tribe to see whether these are part of your bones or not. And so, to whom are you attached? Here's the next question. Have you gotten better through the attachment or worse? You see, this lets you know whether it's something that is lethal or something that has gangrene in it. Have you gotten better through the attachment or worse? And then this one. Are you closer to God or farther away? Are you closer to God or are you further away as a result of the attachment? Are you closer to God or are you further away? And then I want you to notice, because you know our bodies are 3/4 water. We're water. I mean, so when somebody calls you a waterhead, I mean, they are speaking a certain amount of truth. You know, you do realize that. But Swami Vivekananda said this, speaking of water, that if it falls on a hot surface, it perishes. But if it falls on a lotus leaf, that drop of water, it shines like a pearl. And finally, if it falls on an oyster, it becomes a pearl. But the drop is the same, but its existence and its worth depends on with whom it associates. The drop, same drop, but its existence and its worth depends upon with whom it associates. And sometimes we deal with unhealthy attachments. We deal with unhealthy attachments. And an unhealthy attachment, with an unhealthy attachment, it can become an addiction. Can become an addiction. And you can become addicted to a substance. You can become addicted to an experience, which really is a feeling. You can become addicted to a person, or you can become addicted to any combination of these. It's easy to become addicted to a substance, to a person, to an experience, a feeling, or any combination thereof. There's some folks that are just addicted to the person. They're addicted to the sex, the feeling. They're addicted to the euphoria, to the high. And they're trying to get the feeling, the experience again. And most people who have an addiction are actually unaware. There are people that are addicted to social media, addicted to their cell phones, addicted to television, addicted to attention, addicted. Here's some questions to help you to know whether or not you're dealing with an addiction. Do your family and friends say you have a problem? Do your family and friends say you have a problem? Do they say you have a problem? Do you persist in the behavior or relationship even when it hurts others? Do you keep on doing it even when you know that it's hurting people who are attached to you? Do you keep on doing it? Here's number 3. Do you arrange your schedule, priority, or spending around it? Because if you do, you've got an addiction. Here's the next one. Can you go a week without it? Can you go a week without it? Here's the next one. Are you driving others away? Are you driving others away? Addiction normally get people isolated in the end result. They get people isolated. Are you driving others away? And then here's the final question. Are you hiding it or denying it is a problem? Are you hiding it or denying that it is a problem? And so you have to make a decision. It might hurt at the moment and affect a few people, but if you fail to make the decision, your indecision will hurt for a longer time and it'll end up hurting more people. Your indecision. Indecision is more painful and harmful in the long run than making a decision. And this is why we're called actually to be able to make good decisions. We're called to make good decisions. Life is about decisions. It's about decisions. Can I get 5 guys to come up and help me in the service? Just come on. Just 5. Just stand down here. Stand down here. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Come on. 5. All right, I got it. All right, good. Excellent. Good. All right, now turn face this way. Yeah, face this way. Because what I want you to see now, I want you guys to separate here. I want you guys to separate here. No, you stay here. And you guys shift right in the middle of these guys. All right, good. Because I want to show you what sin does to you. Not these men. Don't take it personal. But let's say that this is sin. Sin starts off and it distracts. It always starts with a distraction. Remember Satan in the serpent in the Garden of Eden? Psst. Let me holler at you. He distracted her first. He distracted her first. Distracted. First step of it is distraction. The next step is attraction. Start attracting her. She was first distracted from what God said and now attracted to what was forbidden. Because you know how a person can be distracted and say, ooh, a lady is like, ooh, I know he ain't looking at me. And I know ladies can tell when men are looking at them. They put an extra oomph in their walk. Oh, y'all know you try to act like you don't know what time it is. I know you know, like, girl, I think he looking at me. I think he looking at me. Distracted because you can feel the eyes on you. Distracted. Now you're attracted. Girl, he cute. You see, the attraction, there has to be an attraction. It's not a distraction if it's ugly. It doesn't even catch your heart. It doesn't catch your attention. But you get distracted and then you get attracted. Distracted, attracted. Eve was in the garden. She got distracted by the enemy. But then she got attracted because she saw that it was pleasant to look at. It was attractive. It was attracted to her. What starts in distraction and then matures into attraction further grows into addiction. Because sin promises to please and to satisfy, but it only serves to enslave and to dominate. And so what started off as a distraction and grew into a wrong attraction, now it has grown now into this full fruit of addiction. Gotta have it. Gotta have the experience. Gotta have the substance. Carol, it's just the way he make me feel. I know it ain't right, Carol, but oh, he just do something to me. You're in full-blown addiction. But every addiction brings you to a fork in the road. Because addiction is broken by the power of a decision. All change begins with a decision. Addiction is broken by a decision. And here are the two decisions. Destruction or deliverance. There are only two ways that you can go. And if I go to the left, I'm going to wind up destroyed. The whole end purpose of all sin is distraction that leads you to attraction, which has deception in it because it looks good. Deception, which leads to dislocation into the addicted behavior that finally winds up in destruction. Unless when we're at that fork in the road, we're at the point and the place of this addiction, instead of going toward destruction, we choose deliverance. The name Jesus is Yeshua. Jehovah is salvation or is deliverance. It's deliverance. You have a choice that either I accept the deliverer in my life or my life goes into destruction. Every addicted person who's addicted to sin, addicted to how it feels, addicted to how it makes them feel, addicted to the high, to the euphoria, addicted to how your hormones rage. When you become addicted, you're at a place of decision that I need to desperately cry out now for Yeshua. Jehovah is salvation, my deliverer, or else I will go to destruction. I will persist secretly, clandestinely, surreptitiously in my private addiction that everybody else around me thinks that life is hunky-dory, going beautifully well. They don't even realize that I am wrestling with a snake on the inside of me, wrapping itself around my mind, waking me up in the middle of the night, making me do freaky things and ungodly things and things that are against my own character. And it leads you down a road of destruction or a road of deliverance. You're at every place of addiction, a wrong feeling. And this comes as a result of wrong attachments because you gave something too much time. Listen, if the wrong person wastes 10 minutes of your time, 8 of those minutes is your fault. And so when you're at that place of decision, there's a decision with every addiction. Well, I choose not to make a decision, which is to decide and takes you to destruction, or will I choose to let Yeshua, Jesus the Christ, the great deliverer, to come in and handle in me what I don't even have the strength and the power to break in my own life. And I let the blood in the finished work of Calvary, I take it to the cross and find that as my place of deliverance. Thank you. Give these men a hand. And this is the thing here. You're called to remain attached to Jesus Christ. Remain attached to Jesus Christ. Jesus said to us in St. John 15, verse 4, abide in me and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit of itself except it abide in the vine. No more can you except you abide in me. Abide in me. He said, stay attached to me. When you stay attached to him, you begin to produce the life of God. You've got to stay attached. You got to stay hooked up, connected to Jesus. You bear fruit that has life in it. It's organic and it's life-filled and it renews your energy and it causes the body to heal itself. Stay attached to him. Stay attached to him. You grow stronger in the attachment. And it's not the fruit that we bear of ourselves. The fruit is actually coming from him that we bear through us because we are connected. Jesus said, I'm the trunk of the tree, you are the vine, you're the branches. The fruit grows on the branches, but it grows out through us, and as long as you stay connected, you start withering. When you stay attached to something that looks like it's turned on, but it's not. And he says, it's time to really be connected, and I want you to be at a place today that if you realize that I've been struggling with some things that I can't handle in my own flesh, and I need his help. These are the struggles that we have in the secret place. The private places of your life. Nobody else may even know about the pornography that you deal with. Nobody may know about it, the habitual masturbation. They may not even know about your inordinates with alcohol or some illegal drug substance or sometimes prescription drugs that you've gotten addicted to. They don't even know about the relationship with this man or this woman that you just can't get out of your system. And you know that it's not right and you keep going back to it over and over and over again. You got to take it to the cross. The cross is a place of exchange. It is a place of victory. It is that place where you'll get that complementary relationship that helps us to go upright, and then the horizontal that helps us to do the outreach. There's always outreach before there's outreach, but it becomes the way of the cross. It's the way of the cross. It's the way of the cross. And he's calling for us. He's calling for us to come to him.
We hope that you enjoyed that message. Don't forget to like and subscribe and then press the notification bell so that you don't miss another one of our videos. And if you want to partner with us, click the Give Now button. Thank you for what you do.